What up, what up, what up? It's your girl Tania, aka the Cool Auntie, and this is the Cool Auntie Podcast. Listen, I had a great last week. It was busy, but I had a great last week, and we got some days off because of the holiday. I want to take this moment to shout out my little sister. You getting old, big dog. You getting old, big dog. But it was her birthday last week, and so I want to make sure I let her know I love her and happy birthday. But yeah, so I'm excited. I have another guest for us this week. I've had so much fun with our for the last 2 weeks with our last few guests. As y'all heard, entrepreneurship was a common theme in a lot of these recent conversations. Y'all have been watching my own entrepreneurship journey kind of roll out online, but also I know a lot of people in this space, especially after the pandemic, and realizing that maybe you're working at a place that you don't think that you want to be anymore, or you're working in a field or an industry that you're like, I don't really know. And maybe you're even thinking about entrepreneurship, or maybe you're already in entrepreneurship and you're ready to level up, you know? And so it made me think back. So, I give y'all the tea a lot. As I sip my tea, I give y'all the tea. And so people don't realize, but I had my identity stolen when I was like 18. And I was in college. The hard part is that I didn't know because I wasn't using credit. And so I didn't find out until I graduated and was trying to build my life. And my credit score was like in the 400s. But it was too late to file for fraud because it had sat for so long. And if you know anything about credit, the longer it sits, the harder it is to get off. And so coming out of college with my credit score in the 400s, which is not now, we knocking on 750, baby. But coming out with that, I was very insecure about money because I didn't really understand it, and I was having to deal with these complex issues and not really understanding it. And so when I got my job as a director, knowing that I had to manage a large budget, like I'm managing hundreds, thousands of dollars, like over $100,000 I manage year to year. And it was overwhelming, and I was nervous. And so I was like, you know what, crap, I don't have time to go back to school for this. I don't have time for an online course. How can I learn? And so one of the things I started to do was to follow accounts on social media that taught me about finance, about business management, and just all of those things. And one of those accounts that really stuck out to me, and that has been my guide as an entrepreneur and as a director, has been our next guest, Common Ground Management. They are based right here in Philly. Super personable, super knowledgeable, but it's been a joy watching them grow in their business, because when I started following them, they weren't as popping as they are now. So it's been great to watch them grow, but also I'm excited because I get to show them how much they've impacted me in my journey. And so I'm even more excited on top of that is for them to help you with yours. And so without further ado, we bring our next guest. Let's go. Joffy, stop chewing on my carpet. My bad. For real this time. Let's go. All right. No, I love it. So we are live. Y'all, I am being joined by, we just met, but y'all would think they know me the way they coming at me today, okay? Y'all probably think, look, now they want to look all innocent, y'all. They was coming for me before I pushed record, okay? And they called me a baby. But y'all, please join me in welcoming we're now friends. At this point, we're friends. So my two friends, Dom and Jimmy, y'all say hey.
How you guys going?
See, dry. Right there.
Low key.
That's
low key. I prefer low key. I use one wire on my haze, so I don't know.
I love it. No, but these guys are two of three founders of CGM, also known as Common Ground Management, based right here in Philly. Like y'all, I've been saying to them, I said it in the intro, I want to give you all your flowers. Down before you hopped on, I was telling Jimmy, when I first started following y'all, I had a 400 something. I won't say what the number is. A 400 something credit score. I was terrified of finance, terrified of business, I was so insecure, and literally just following y'all in my little notebook of notes and words I didn't understand. Maybe 4 or 5 years later, y'all have transformed how I do business. You've transformed how I see myself as an entrepreneur. But yeah, y'all have been so much a part of my journey. So thank y'all so much.
No, appreciate you. Thank that means a lot. It definitely means a lot.
And she's like, y'all did it. I was like, no, you did it.
It was his fake humble. You missed it. He had a whole show and everything.
And just off the MSW bag real quick, you know. Well, rusty, but.
No, I love it. And so you told me a story a little bit, Jimmy, but I want you to share it for everybody else. Talk about so first of all, 3 Black men talking about business and finance, especially as long as y'all been in business. You don't see that. And you definitely don't see that in this city. And so y'all are gems in more ways than one. Don't take that to the head, though, because, you know, your Black men get carried away, okay? But y'all...
we have people who keep us humble, though. You know? we have a village.
No, I love it. But please tell us how y'all all got started. Why CGM? Because I love the name, but I want to know more about why you chose the name. Yeah, give us the tea. I want the tea.
Shout out to the third Migo. Sure, he's not here right now.
Yeah. Take on whatever you take on. What you take on? Yeah.
Who got left off Bad and Bougie? Who got left off Bad and Bougie?
I got left off. He got left off Bad and Bougie.
Nobody got left off. You know, nobody got left off.
He got that dream.
Waiting for more ice.
I love it.
But yeah, I think I was sharing. You know, we linked up and met in college. You know, it's just a crazy story where, you know, things happen for a reason. People, you know. Like, you know, I was telling you, you know, Don was the first person I met at school, freshman orientation. And I was like, he look cool, you know, like we can vibe. And like our moms was like, y'all need to meet, like, be friends.
Right.
It was like, okay, like,
shout out to the Black moms.
Yeah, shout out to the Black moms. They knew, they already knew, they solid. You know, so I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm about to be here for 3 days. Like, I'll see what happens. You know what I mean? It was like, we've been road dogs since, you know, and I just like similar thought patterns, how we vibe, values. You know, trying to find that, you know, in college, you know, you're in college trying to find yourself. So we always hear stories about people changing up and doing different things, or they evolved into whatever they evolved into. But I think we just positively evolved. You know, the Sherm came in a year after us. And some, again, similar vibes, like, you know, it was very much like, yo, like this, he has similar, like a value system. And like, yeah, so I mean, I think it just worked out.
And it's also really important with a team. Like, you can love people all you want to, but when it comes to working in a team, your values do have to be aligned. So I absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, we believe that wholeheartedly. I think, like Jim said, I think our junior year, Sherm sophomore year, we all roomed together. And that's when they kind of coalesced. Like, Jim and I were already real close, but living with Sherm and seeing the type of person he is and, you know, what the family background he came from, and his aspirations for what he wanted to do growing, you know, as he got older. We all had different majors, but we all had the same values. Really value being, you know, part of a family, like just the intrinsic things, like not necessarily like money or materials, but just honesty, being, you know, down to earth, being simple, you know, not simple as in like drive, but simple as in, you don't need.
I like how you slid that in there. You want to clarify that y'all not dry.
No shade.
It's returning that energy. Serving it back.
You know, it was very easy to be like, hey, you know, we got to go to war, and be in tough battles. You can do it with these 2 guys. People say you can't do business with friends and family. I disagree. You can do it. You guys got to be on the same page about what you want out of it. And so, you know, all these years later, have we disagreed on stuff? You know, do we all have like our point of view on certain things? For sure. But at the end of the day, when we all come to an agreement, that's what we ride with. We're not like, oh, well, I said we should have did this. Like, it's how we moving in this direction, and it's been pretty successful for us.
I love that. So mind you, I love my college roommate. I just watched one of them walk down the aisle almost a year ago, right before the pandemic. But how do we go from roommates to starting a very successful business and maintaining it? Where did CGM come from? You pointed at Jimmy. Is it Jimmy's idea?
Well, yeah, he came up with the name.
Oh.
So me and Jim, a lot of people don't realize that this was really supposed to be a sneaker company. So me and Jim were really big into sneaks, and we wanted to start back in the day.
Consignment.
Way back before that, way back before, you know, all this consignment and online. There was only like City Blue
and UB.
And UB, you know.
And Sneaker Villa. We had Sneaker Villa.
Yeah, sneakers. Yeah.
He's like, I was around for that. I was like 4.
You can really, you can't really buy that many different sneaks in Philly. You could buy New Balances, Butters, like, Air Force Ones, J's, but there wasn't like an eclectic selection. Like back in the day, you had to go to like New York to get like sneakerhead stuff or order online. So we wanted to open up a sneaker store, kind of like Fight Club here in Philly.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we started out wanting to do. We were still in college talking about it, and Sherm roomed with us his sophomore year, our junior year, and that's how he got introduced into it as well. And so our initial plan was to actually start a sneaker store.
Wow.
And then I think my sophomore year, or Jimmy and I sophomore year, a guy that went to school with us, John Neal, always credit what Common Ground became to John Neal, because he took me downtown. And at that time, you got to remember, in 2005, it wasn't really like a lot of entrepreneurs. You didn't hear about it. There were entrepreneurs, but it wasn't social media to broadcast them. So,
well, I was still in elementary school, so I wasn't hearing them at all.
So only people that you would hear about would be like Jay, Diddy, like rappers, and some athletes like Jordan and stuff like that, but nobody like locally. So John Neal took me around and was like, look, I'm going to take you to these restaurants all owned by the same guy, Steven Starr. So like Marimoto's, Budokan, Jones's. I mean, it's a regular dude. He's like, yeah. So I was like, man, that's what, at that point I thought it could be doable, and that's when we started talking about making the sneaker store and just having like a lifestyle company. So Common Ground was initially supposed to be like a lifestyle holding company with like different lifestyle brands underneath it.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you forgot. So where did the evolution hit? Because I think too many times, I love that y'all are able to, you hit a point where you recognize that this is not what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people have a hard time accepting what I started out and the direction I'm going. And like people are afraid to reroute and U-turn when they see, okay, I am going the wrong way. So what was the point where you realized, okay, I'm going the wrong way, and how we're going to pivot this thing?
I mean, I don't know who was, you're going the wrong way. I think it was, so I guess fast forward a little bit, we graduate, and again, you was maybe middle school now. We like,
now.
I was still Soldier Boy up in this.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe a little Bow Wow for you. E2K.
No, Chris.
Yeah, so it was like, we were like, doing stuff in Philly, but like, being young professionals, whatever, it was like, it's not much to do in Philly. It was like a few places, and it's like, that's not really what our friends are, kind of our scene, our crowd wants to do. So we started looking at more like, okay, like we'll just put on our own events. So it was like, again, earlier on, not saying we did it, but, it was just like spoken word events, like having our friends vent who had upcoming, new businesses and stuff like that. And I was telling a client last week, and he was asking me the same question, like, how'd y'all start? And I was like, we did that, but also we tried to have a charitable piece to it as well. So one of my favorite events we did was we had a local designer. He was from Philly. We had an event at a local spot.
I was thinking like 2 years ago. I've been there.
Oh, gosh. He was like a fashion designer, which again, he had great product, but I think he said he just lacked the exposure and the audience. And we had at a local venue here in Philly, down north at an event space. And it was like, for us, we wanted to highlight and raise awareness for heart disease for Black and brown women, which again, something that wasn't on our forefront of our mind. So we had a theme, like we asked people to wear red. That's where a portion of proceeds went. So we had different events that kind of really try to highlight those things. But this was like, for us, like, I think we just thought we were just doing what we had to do. Like, we'll like write sponsorship packages. We'll go scout venues. We'll go scout talent. Like, we'll get a DJ. We'll like write up, like different packages and sponsorship letters and stuff like that. And, like, people come to us like, well, how'd y'all get this? How'd y'all do that? Who did this? We're like, oh, we did it. Like, we're not supposed to do that. Like, and then like just different events, when people were like, well, can you do this for us? Then we started, I think, seeing like, okay, like maybe we have something here where people come to us now for a consultation, and, seeking advice and stuff like that. So we kind of started moving in towards, like looking at having like retained clients and stuff like that. And down the background was more so like in business and management and PR. So that's kind of some language that he just understood and spoke. And we all kind of like and we're interested in entrepreneurship. So I think we were all like, let's do this. And it just kind of, I think, just kept going that way. When it was like, oh, we got like one client, like, oh, we hype. You know, this is us still having meetings at like Plaza Pizza right across from Temple, or in our apartments. Like, you know, this is like us having meetings like, oh, Jim, one time you get off work, like, we'll meet you at your apartment. And we're like trying to figure out what's next.
The Black Mafia meeting started early, huh?
Yeah.
But I love that because, so actually a few episodes ago, we were talking about purpose, right? Everyone's in this space of figuring out what should I be doing. But I love what you said because I think people are out here searching for it and they don't realize that you discover it. You walk into it. I love how you were already doing it. You just didn't know that you were doing it until somebody brought it to your attention. So I love y'all hear that. Okay. Like I didn't coax them on this. This is all live. Okay. I didn't do this, but I love to hear that. Okay. So then Common Ground was initially for the sneaker company, that name.
Yeah. Well, when we came up with it, we were
Jimmy's trying to remember. He's looking up in the sky trying to remember exactly.
Yeah, we were in Plaza Pizza, and so it was the first meeting, and we were like, you know, basically cut your finger, get the blood on the, you know, take the oath type thing, and it was like, all right, well, first things first, if we can't have tough conversations, this ain't the place, you know. We family and everything, but you know, business is a completely different arena, so we can't disagree and have tough conversations and look each other in the eye. In this arena, you know, you get back out right now. And then, you know, I told him the idea basically of like the holding company, which would be Common Ground. And then the name we were trying to come up with for the sneaker company was like Ethos, but somebody had that. And so the sneaker company's gonna have a different name, but the first company we wanted to make was like Common Ground to own it. It wasn't Common Ground at the time. Jim came up with the name at the table at the pizza spot. So he's like, "Yo, what about Common Ground Management?" And you know, he was like, "Oh, that's hot. Like it fits." So we, you know,
it fits. Simple, right? Simple to the point. It fit.
And to your point, I was on a podcast like a couple months ago about your gift and purpose. And those are the things that, you know, for me has always been my North Star, just like not trying to chase. Like people always talk about chase the bag, do this. I never wanted to like chase. I always felt like your gifts take you to your purpose. Like the gifts are the vehicle that gets you to the you don't gotta try to find it. If you listen to your gifts and listen to your natural talents, you'll end up in the direction you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And so from the rip, like Jim said, from like how we met to how we've been able to coalesce as like a unit with Common Ground, to how like Jim coming up with the name, it was always like very natural. To your point earlier about like the traits and, you know, how we vibe, it was all very natural. So when we started doing the events, that was just to raise money, you know, to flip back into the sneaker store. But every event space owner was like, first of all, looking at us like we was crazy, because people still think we in our 20s. So imagine when we were actually in our 20s, like how
until you open your mouth and start talking about 09 and 05.
09. So back
really enjoyed it,
right back then, you know, they would look at us. We come in there with these proposals, and they be like, "Well, I don't know." Like this one guy, I won't name names, but uptown, he was like, "I don't know if y'all can do it, blah blah blah." So he gave us a real hard time. But by the time we had the event, mind you, this event is snowed in October. It was a blizzard in October, and we sold the place out. It was packed. We had like a live comedy show, live spoken word. We had like 10 comedians go up, 10 alternative artists, like poets or musicians. Had food there, had clothing vendor there. Shout out T Boutique. I don't think it's T Boutique anymore. She goes by a different name, but shout her out. She supported from the rip. And then for the Johns. Yeah, now it's for the Johns. So shout out for the Johns. Yeah. Yeah. She was like one of our first vendors back in the day. Wow. And she at the end of the show, he came and was like, "Yo, can y'all do this every month?" And we were like,
I
And then you gotta
don't
go on the road.
know.
You gotta take the show on the road, baby. You know.
I love that. No, I love all of that. So you know what? I want to go back to something you said that was powerful because even myself, this idea of chasing, like especially now. So mind you, I work with college students primarily, and working with them, and even being an entrepreneur, and even social media, everything it makes you feel like you're not doing enough, like that you're behind, that you're missing something, and so we're really out here chasing, if not the bag, we're chasing something. What do you feel like is the biggest myth when it comes to being an entrepreneur, pursuing entrepreneurship, starting a business? Biggest myth.
I'll go first. I think the biggest myth is there's twofold. You're too old or it's too late, right? And so for me, I think people think that there's a shot clock on it. There's no shot clock on what you're going to do for you, and when you find out what you can do for you. And being an entrepreneur doesn't mean you got to quit your job. It just means like you're problem solving. So you can have a job and work for somebody else and still be an entrepreneur because you're leveraging those talents to get paid in that space, that 9 to 5 space. If you go home at 5 o'clock and you just put on, Golden Girls and start chilling, then you call it a day. But if you use your total capacity and opportunity to solve problems for your family, for you, for your community, you're an entrepreneur. That could be any time. You don't got to be 21. You can be 45 and be like, hey, I want to get into this thing and just create these opportunities. So I think that's, for me, I've always seen like people start rushing because they think they're on a shot clock, or they think they gotta quit their job. They gotta do this. Like, hey, there's no shot clock in this thing. So it's never too late. You're never too old. You don't gotta go at somebody else's pace. This is whatever you can do is all that you can do. You can't do more than what you can.
I love that. I heard, I was reading a book, and it was like, you can't add time to the clock. So I love that. All right. Jim, what about you? Biggest myth?
I would think something, or it's like adding to that, like something parallel. Like, I think I was sharing with you, like, like even for myself, I'm full time in my entrepreneurship journey, like a couple of months now, so I've, been doing this from the beginning. Even for myself, like you see like the shift and the change and the adaptation and stuff like that. But prior to this, I was in workforce development, so I pretty much help people get jobs. And that could be teens, adjudicated youth, foster care, people aging out, returning citizens, those experiencing homelessness. And for me, always was, I think, in a similar vein to Dom's response around, there is no shot clock on it, but just seeing when people finally realize their potential. Like, that was my favorite part. Like, it wasn't like, oh, James got me this job. It was like, no, you got you this job because something clicked for you.
You told me that before we started recording. You said it to me.
Yeah, like, we helped maybe unlock something or uncover something, but like, I wasn't in an interview with you. I didn't do this. Like, I'm not going to that job every day, or whatever. You find that passion, and now you're like ignited. So that was like always my favorite part. And seeing that now, I love it. We get to meet people from all over, different backgrounds, and like, yeah, we've had folks older, and they're like, I'm finally deciding to do this. Like, you can hear just the excitement in their voice, like, so that's cool. And I would say that's not so much a myth, but I think a lot of people seem like they got to do it solo or from the muscle, by themselves. And it's like, I don't think you've had this hard to find folks who work with you. I think sometimes like just maybe taking a step back and like trying to like plan something out. Like you said, like rushing, but for us, we're very big planners, so like things we're doing now is like stuff we tried to plan 3, 4, or 5 years ago, so it's like taking time to like, let me work on this plan. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's like, so you're doing things more strategic and more purposeful. So it's not like you're just like all over the place chasing this, chasing that, like, trying to be really, again, just purposeful in what you do. So that's probably the answer to your question, but
no, I love that because actually I even like listen, when you feel convicted, and my audience knows I'm very transparent about everything. So even hearing y'all say that to me, I was like, okay, Tania, slow your ass down, So thank you for that. But I think even with that,
you said it, not I.
Right? Stop putting it back on me.
Come on. Well, I mean, to the point, like you just mentioned, I think you know, there's a difference between being quick and like moving fast. Like people that are on the outside, it looks like we're moving fast because like, damn, they just did this, they did that. But to Jim's point, you know, we made these alterations, we put these like things in place. Like for example, tomorrow we're gonna put a post out that says your new year starts in 30 days, August 1st.
You taught me that 2 years ago.
Yeah, so like if you wait until January 1st to do New Year's stuff, you're trying to move too quick because it's already the first. How you gonna make up all this time in 24 hours? Like you said, you can't put more time on the clock. But what you can do is put that plan in motion way before the game started, right? And so if August 1st is when you're gonna start planning for 2022, you got a 4-month head start. So what to other people when they see you doing all this stuff and it looks like you're going fast, come January, you're like, man, I've been had this in play. I've been put the pot on. I've been let it bubble. I've been planning. So that's for us has always been like, we never want to be in a rush.
Right.
Right. So you only rush when you're running late or when you're unprepared. So if you're prepared, you can make these quick alterations and you can, on the outside, it looks like you're moving fast, but this is like years and months or at least weeks of planning for things. We used to plan our events months in advance and promote for like, that was our standard. Like, we got to promote for 8 weeks. And so people would come to the event and be like, Dan, how'd you get 200 people to show up in a snowstorm? Well, because we was out like beating the street for 2 months, you know? So that was always my big thing. You never, like for me, chasing is only you're gonna lose because think about anything, like they got the dogs running around the track chasing a little puppet rabbit or whatever. They're never gonna catch you. You know what I mean? Like you can't chase. By definition of chasing is you're always gonna be eluded, right? It's an elusive thing. But if you make the traps and you set up your situation, then you can be prepared for what's to come.
I love that. I think again, like I think like that. It's like that myth of like the overnight success. I was telling my students about how like I just hit a space where I feel like I can say I'm an expert in something. You ever heard that like that about the 5,000 hours? Like, have you now? I know y'all probably put in twice as many 5,000 hours as I put in. So don't be. I felt the stare, Jim.
Not about that. Not you right now.
But like this idea of overnight success isn't actually overnight, but like I've been reading articles. I follow Forbes, so I read Forbes articles all the time, and just seeing the spike in entrepreneurs in small businesses and applications, and mind you, that's the field that you all are in. I think some of it may have come from people believing that it's a lot simpler and a lot quicker than they actually think. What do you feel like folks should be mindful of? So like even for me, it took me a while before I decided that I wanted to even start an LLC and start a business. That's a big commitment versus I have some friends who like, they decided in 24 hours and apply the next day. What do you feel like is important for people to know or to be sure of before they start a business and actually apply for an LLC or sole proprietorship, whatever it might
be? So I want to plug our Welcome to the Jungle manual.
Come on. $4.99. $4.99.
Y'all hear that? I'm gonna get it and tell y'all about it.
But I mean, in that, we, from our experiences, and other folk that we work with closely, just kind of share 10 steps is walking people through just kind of what they need to be aware of, what they need to look out for. And early on is really being aware and knowing yourself. Like Dom always shares about entrepreneurship is around, a lot of it based around awareness of again, yourself.
Y'all hear that? Sorry.
And it was something that I share with you, my background was I have a master's in social work, and I would tell folks you work with people all day, but you got to be really aware, of what you're saying, how you're receiving stuff, what you're telling folks back, how you present yourself. And in just that, we talk about are you financially ready to go down the road? Is your personal life, different relationships? Are you in this space? it may not never be like a perfect time for you to go in this direction, but like, you know, some people just like, I'm gonna do this, and it's like you said, my personal credit jacked up, but I need to do this, and you know, it's just things aren't aligned, or they're not in that place to be aligned, just yet. So I mean, a lot of it I think is just like really, I think taking the inventory of yourself first. Then if you're like, I'm gonna go in business with folks, or again, like, do these personalities mesh? Do I have the right team?
Check their credit.
No, for real.
Yeah, you know, their working styles, like what are folks' strengths? And again, like doing research, you know, what's this idea that I have? Like, and not so much like you can find an opportunity in that niche for yourself, but just like, is there a demand? What's going to separate me from other folks?
Yeah. Learning your industry. That was a big thing for me. I didn't know about like market research. It came from me Googling and go, oh, I should probably do market research first. And so like literally like I've been learning and teaching myself as I go. So even knowing about that is really important. So awesome. I love that.
Nah, like Jim said, you know, step one in Welcome to the Jungle is to find shelter. And so if you were to be trapped in the space, like trapped in the wilderness, first thing you got to do to survive in that wilderness is to find a safe place, high ground, you know, close to water, whatever the case. And that same thing with entrepreneurship. So that internal inventory check, the inventory, first you got to understand, if you're not responsible with your money as a person, you're not going to be responsible as a business owner. If you're impulsive as a person, you're going to be impulsive as a business owner. Like, if you don't like dealing with people as a person, you're not going to like dealing with people as a, like, starting a business doesn't make you a new person. You have to make those changes to improve your business. Like, you got to make that inventory first. And I think right now, what we saw in 2019, 2020, because of the pandemic, and this year too, is people are making businesses not for the wrong reasons, but they're making businesses for different reasons than when they made businesses before. Like you mentioned about being an expert. It used to be that people made a business because they were really good at something. And they took pride in like, well, I can cook really well, or I'm a plumber, I want to go out and do my own thing. I took all these years of school, you know, I got my sociology degree, I want to have my own practice. Whatever the case, it was, or I really love clothes, I'm a fashion designer. So it used to be probably pre-2019, people made businesses because they had a passion for something, or they had a high interest or high knowledge in that thing. And they were like, y'all want to pursue this. Then 2020 hit and you saw businesses, you know, people can get like free, like not free money, but they can get money from the government if they had a business or if their business was in trouble. So now what it did is it opened up, it made people, not everybody, but it opened the door up to like people that were more scavenger-esque, like, oh, let me get a business because I can get something out of it like right now. And not really understanding like the business is something that you make an LLC, you make a corporation, you make a nonprofit because you got dreams of like growing this thing and scaling it and becoming like really, really good at something, not to hustle. Right. And so you can hustle all you want, but you don't have to have a business to do that. You don't have to have an LLC to hustle. You could just go out and sell t-shirts, right? Or go out and sell baby turtles if you wanted to. So I think that's the difference that we've seen over the last few months, like 18 months or so, is like people aren't scared of entrepreneurship anymore. You know, everybody's like waving that flag now. So if you haven't been in that pool, you're like, well, let me put my toe in the pool and let me step in, which is fine. But that's just been a cultural difference. I think you've seen a shift from people being like, I want to take this dive, I want to jump off this cliff and like chase my dream or chase my like passion or chase my educational level that I've attained. Now it's like, it's not a cliff anymore. We at the kiddie pool, you can just stick your toe in and get busy. So to Jim's point, I think taking the time, if you really want to be good at entrepreneurship, you got to take the time to like build yourself, understand yourself, where you are. And he mentioned it, like check them people's credit scores that you're trying to get in business with. Like sit down and say like, yo, when you trying to get married, are you going to live in this city forever? Like, when are you going to move? When are you trying to buy a house? Because all of that stuff is going to affect you. All of that stuff is going to affect the decision. We've had hard conversations in our company over the last 18 months, 20 months around those same things. And we've been, knowing each other for damn near 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And so there's things we weren't able to get because of credit scores. There's things that we can get because we had to self-check, like, yo, I got to fix my credit score. I got to do this. I got to do that. So all that stuff, if you want to be great at entrepreneurship and great at business, it's no different than being great at anything else. You have to put that time in. You got to be dedicated to it. If you want to hustle it, you can hustle it, but it won't last long because you're chasing. Like you just chasing this 5,000, this 10,000. As soon as you don't get it, you're gonna go to the next one.
And sprint versus a marathon, right? No,
Yeah.
so for sure. So I'm gonna go back because you said it's a kiddie pool. For me, I ain't gonna lie. It feel like the damn ocean sometimes. I'm out here, your girl out here like, okay, am I doing the backstroke? Am I doing first of all, I can't swim in real life.
No,
so I'm throwing these things out there.
People are treating it like the kiddie pool. People are treating it like, oh, let me just stick my toe in. It's still an ocean. It's still if you treat it right, it's going to be an ocean, but people aren't like thinking about it in the main. You've seen the spike because a lot of the people that are doing it now, they're not treating it like, yo, I got to build systems. I got to do this. I'm trying to hire people. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. They're like, let me get an LLC so I can get business credit. But that's not even how it works. You know what I'm saying? Let me get an LLC because I heard I can get $60,000. So they're treating it like yo, it's an inflatable pool, but it's not.
It's not.
You spoke to the overnight celebrity. I mean, a lot of that may be fueled by social media and other aspects. But again, it's like Dom said, and like you're attesting to, it's much larger than that. Like, before it really was like, I'm thinking about doing it. Let me talk to 20 of my friends. Like, is this the right decision for me to do? Like, do I have enough saved up? Do I do this? Like, now it's like, I'm about to just, people come to us. And again, for us, as we say, like, we're in the business of helping people get connected and information and stuff like that. So, but if someone's like, yeah, I'm about to start this, like, so how do I pay myself? How you say industry research? It's just maybe some things you should look at before you're just trying to get this LLC so you can get to this next, like Dom saying, this next hustle.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine ask me to help them with an operating agreement. I said, well, okay, send me your business plan. I'm going to help you. What business plan? I'm like, how you going to have an operating agreement and you ain't got a business plan? I said, you know what? Get off my phone. I don't want to talk to you. Get off of my phone. So I know I'm definitely learning just through my own personal experience and watching my friends. But in thinking about a pool, I think the scary part is that being a little fish in a big pond, right? This idea of, you hear about, having a niche, having a brand, building a brand, being different, being unique. And like, I'm very authentic now, so I'm really big on how do you maintain your authenticity. And I love that we talked about that a little bit too, but just what do you feel like people should be doing to set themselves apart? If that's even the question.
What was the second half of that? You said what should people be doing?
If that's even the question, like how do you set yourself apart in a big fish? I mean, a little fish, big pond.
No, if we use that analogy, I think that it's not a big pond because the pond is who you are and who's around you. Like you build your pond basically. So
that was a bar. I'm sorry. Can we pause for the bar? Can we pause for the bar? Okay.
Shout out Uncle Home. That's 25 years listening to Jay.
Y'all heard that 25, okay?
Come on now.
I love that. But, I love that. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm all
ears. Well, we talk about it in the Welcome to the Jungle. Like you got to build your pond, right? So at the end of the day, everybody's unique. Everybody's themselves. And like we talked about, there used to be that people started a business because they had a passion for something, they were good at something, or they went to school for something. And they're like, hey, I have enough knowledge. And then at that point, it was just like, all right, I got to get customers. So what do I do to get customers? And the first thing we always do is we go to our closest circle of influence, right? Our friends, our family, like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And then we might be a little bit self-conscious. So we might be like afraid somebody will tell us, oh, I don't need it, I don't want it, or no, it's not good. So, but if there's 300 million people in the US, you only know 20 people. Like you ain't swimming in the Atlantic Ocean. Your pond is real close. Yeah. And so the thing that we always worried about was, I wasn't never worried about if my friends or family would come, because they're going to know that we doing the stuff anyway. My job was always make a stranger buy from us. right? So my job was always like getting in front of one new person every day or one new person. So I always treat entrepreneurship as like one step. Like Mount Everest is going to be there, that's fine, but the Atlantic Ocean is going to be there, but you only paddle one stroke at a time. So handle that first thing, like new people, here goes the flyer, here goes the business card, here goes a post. So being you is enough. Talking about what you want to do is enough. Now you just have to convince somebody that doesn't know you that there's value in what you're presenting to them to purchase. And it's no different than, you know, anything that we do in life. Is just there's a tangible product or a service attached to it. So you don't have to do anything to set yourself apart other than like be passionate about what you're doing. And like Jim said, we love talking to people. We didn't know this, but we love like informing our community. Jim called it common ground management before we knew that we were going to be like this platform where our community was going to be, not only use the word enlightened, but our community was going to have like a resource. But where I was working at before, it was Black owned. He was from North Philadelphia. He was an alum of our school. And our community couldn't go there because it was too expensive. So people ask us all the time, like, why is our price our price? I'm like, because we made it for the community. Like, we want our community to have a resource. And that was our niche. Just people didn't have nobody to ask, so they could ask us.
Yeah.
Like, that was it.
But
it
But just going back to what you said, I mean, at the end of the day, like, by being yourself, you set yourself apart. Because nobody, like, even if we're doing the same thing, you aren't going to do it how I do it because you're not me and I'm not you. And so I love hearing that. But I think it's so crazy. I want to go back to something you said because I did the opposite. I purposely, like when I dropped my podcast, when I started my business, some of my friends, family have no idea what I do. You ask them what I do, they'll go, oh, Tania work at Temple. Tania runs, as far as they're concerned, I run Temple. That's all they know. Like, Tania, I don't. And my paycheck will tell you that I don't, by the way. But like, they had no idea what I do. But when I dropped all my stuff, I never reached out to them because, number one, I didn't want to pressure family and friends to support me if they weren't my audience. But also, two, I knew half of them weren't my audience, so I didn't even try. I didn't even attempt to market to them. And so it's crazy because like I had to be mindful about strategy because there's so many different ways to do this thing. And so going back to your thing about this idea of a paddle, there's different boats, different paddles, different speeds, different strokes when you're swimming, and there's no one size fits all. What do you feel like?
Exactly.
Yeah, like when it comes to strategy, how do you all go about? I know you work with businesses as far as helping them map out their strategy. How do you go about giving recommendations, or what recommendations would you give to people who are trying to find the strategy or the stroke for them?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like, what's probably time doesn't allow for is a lot of this is like asking more questions. Like, sometimes what's that end goal? Sometimes people don't know yet. You know, I mean, I think to me, a lot of that informs where you're trying to go. You know, so like we're saying, like not sprinting, going around aimlessly, which nothing wrong with that is, you know, until you find your footing. And sometimes it doesn't, you know, sometimes it clicks to you like in the shower, you know, doing whatever, making, you know, Pop-Tarts. You're like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. It all makes sense now. You know,
I call them sticky thoughts. I have sticky notes everywhere in my house, and I'll be like randomly like, ooh, I'll be eating like, ooh, stop. And I write on sticky note and just smack it on the wall.
Which is dope.
Yeah. Or if it's like, here's maybe 4 or 5 different scenarios, and it's like, how do I get there? You know? So it's like, okay, like I need to put these things in place, like bounce at these traps, or have these levers ready to go, or start making these connections to, you know, get over these bridges, like when the time comes. And again, like, you know, for us, we're like, it's not like we're like, you know, Dom or somebody or racing, not like, they're like making information up on the spot. Like this information is out there. We're helping people be able to digest it. But it's like some of it is, like you said, learning that self, you know, having an interest in that and want to like really understand it. Some people are just like, I want to know everything. You know, and they're like, I'm trying to read every book, every article, like you said, Forbes, Business Insider, I'm doing this. Like, I want to know everything about it.
That can be frustrating because I don't know about y'all, but I can't. It's the same way with pastors. I can't have too many voices in my ear, okay? It's like when it comes to my Jesus and when it comes to my business, I don't listen to everybody, okay? And if you ain't did it yet, I'm definitely not listening to you if you ain't done it yet because you can't tell me nothing. If you ain't do it, how you going to tell me how to do it?
Yeah, and it's key, I think, like what Jim was saying, you know, everybody's pace is different. Everybody's traits are different and values are different. So, you know, we keep going back to Welcome to the Jungle, but we talk about that too. Like, everybody has different value sets. So you might be a really, really process-oriented person. So you love to be organized. That's amazing, you know, because you're gonna be organized, but you might not ever execute. You know what I'm saying? You can be doing research till you turn blue in the face, but never push the button on it. Somebody else might be more materialistic driven, right? So they're like, I want the cars, I want the money, I want this and that, I want the acknowledgement. So they're gonna do whatever it takes to accomplish those things. So they're probably gonna be more of a shooter than the person that's more process oriented. And so you might see them be on Instagram or be on live, like you said. They read something yesterday, now they're selling a course on it today. You know, blah, blah, blah. And so the strategy is only going to fit. We used to try to get one of our clients to be more sit down, plan, strategize. And it just was like, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. And it wasn't that he was wrong. It was just that his body, his mind, and his engine only worked best when he was on the go, when it was like the wire, down to the wire, when it was, he's in the midst of the struggle, and then he's like, all right, my juices is flowing. If we were to sit him down in this room for an hour, like, okay, talk about this and that, it was, you know, he shut down. But so everybody's not going to be the same. Your strategy should always be, you know, based around what your ultimate goals are. And hopefully, intrinsically, there's positivity in them. Like, you're not trying to do something that's unethical and things like that. But,
Right.
you know, some people move a lot fast. You know, for us, that's one of the things that we had to get. Entrepreneurship is dope because it's a mirror for me. It shows you what you need to get better at. It shows you what your gifts are. It shows you all your truths, all your sins, like everything that's like, if you really want to take it to the next level, we had to not change who we are, but we had to strengthen some of our weaknesses, like having our face on social media, being more talkative, being more assertive, being quicker. You know, we love to sit down and plan and have a process, but you know, it's like, all right, now we got to act on it, like really do it. So I think that's for everybody. Your strategy should be built around your goals, have objectives that you want to hit, and then put things in place to hit those goals, but you got to execute. And some people execute way faster than they plan. Some people don't execute at all. So just find that happy medium.
Absolutely. And have a darn business plan, because half of those questions are in the business plan. Crazy. So I do curriculum design, and even to your point, people are like, oh, I want to do an ebook. I want to do a course. All right.
Well, wait a minute.
But then we start building that outline, and they have trouble writing the outline. I'm like, well, baby, if we can't get this outline, and you ain't got no course, because you can't teach what you don't know.
You curriculum design, we might need to get you on a side conversation. We got curriculum we got to get finished for the school and other stuff. That's
what I do. Y'all got what y'all do. That's what I do.
Yeah, come on, with the low level.
I got you. Well, actually, I got a surprise for y'all too. But no, for sure. But no, I love it. So okay, you know what? So I've been on their butts about time. Y'all gave them a whole spiel about time, but they were doing so well, I didn't want to cut them off. It was great. But we are out of time, though. And so I always ask folks at the end, because, again, to your point, it's different for everybody. But I feel like some wisdom, when it's real good, it applies to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how your mom said that one thing and you never forget it? It applies to every scenario. The rest of your life, you're like, dang, you hate when I hate when my mom is right. I hate when she's right so bad because she never let me forget it. But something she said has always stuck with me. So I love when people can give a pearl of wisdom that I take or that the listeners can take and hold on to. So if you had, and I want both of you to give me a different one. What's like your one big pearl of wisdom you want to tell folks?
I had a coach at St. Joe's. He used to say it all the time. It's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. And so, you know, that always stuck with me, especially in entrepreneurship, because you can be up, you know, feeling really good and like, man, I'm riding high. And then all these things happen and you're like, is the whole world, the whole galaxy against me? Like,
oh yeah, I quit. You like, I quit. I want to quit. I quit.
So that I've always been that type of even kill person anyway. But you know, my coach used to say that all the time, and I think that's, for me, is the best bit of advice for entrepreneurship, man. Like, take your wins the same way you take things that you perceive as like losses. Like, to me, I don't think you can ever lose. You're always gonna be learning. So, but it's never as good as it seems. You can make $1 million today, but best believe IRS coming for they 40%. So it's gonna seem real bad then. But if you stay even kill, like you'll be prepared for both those scenarios.
And then whatever you can't prepare for, you pray, Jesus. You pray, you prepare, and you pray. You pray first, and you prepare, and you pray after that. Okay, so, prayer. No, for sure. I love that. Thanks, Dom. All right, Jim.
I'm gonna try to get two in real quick because I had an answer before, but I didn't.
See what I'm saying? See, I just applaud them about time, and then look at him. See,
you see, I'm very sure of my words. So you know, but no, I think something you said to me earlier around like humility, and I think it goes into my second point. Like, I mean, I think that's like for us again, that's something that we try to really, I think, live in every day. It's just like you said, that humility. You know, so we're like, you know, we have staff now. Like, I had teams that I've built and, you know, work with. So, you know, so it was like, we can always learn from each other. And for us, like, you know, if Dom's like, yo, Jim, like, we could do this better. Or Sherm said something like that, you know, it wasn't on some like, what you mean? Like, you know, it's coming from that place of personal and professional respect and then being humble enough to receive that. You know, so I think that really can go a long way in entrepreneurship, just in life, not just entrepreneurship, but in life. And something I've learned a lot, which I thought you kind of alluded to your earlier question, something I learned a lot, and I've seen my wife, April, do a lot, is just like mentorship is key. So I would say for folks like, and doesn't have to be like a mentor in your space, but just like for her, she's like, I'm going to try to build my own board of directors. And these are people that help her strategize, help her save time, money, effort, everything as she's trying to grow her businesses. And for us, like, you know, again, we seek out those folks. Some people consider us our mentors. We have our mentor, you know, but again, these are folks who can help you just refine what you're doing, you know, and help you get connected to just different avenues, different spaces, different opportunities. So it's not so much a pearl of wisdom, but I think it's just like actively seek out mentorship. I think a lot of people are just like, I'm going to figure it out. You know, I'm going to do everything by myself. And you just sit here spinning wheels and you're like, I could do this.
I'll speak for them because there are people who I reached out and how you fall in love with the idea of a person and you see them up close and that's always my fear. I'm very authentic, and I know sometimes I hear I'm ghetto. I hear all kinds of things, but you know what? I don't ever want it to be where people come up close. I want the closer you get to me, the more inspired you are. I don't want it to ever be reverse. When you get close to me, you like, you ain't what I thought you was. Because I done met people, I'm like, you ain't what I thought you was. And so mentorship, to that point, doing research and going off more than Instagram profiles and LinkedIn profiles, because people can know how to do something, but their ability to be able to teach you and help you do it is a whole different ballgame, for sure.
Yeah, I'll close on that. So this year we met somebody I probably would have never thought we would have met. He's the owner of a sports team, and he had a need, and we had a need. Both our needs kind of coalesced. And we met to a mutual party, and he's become a mentor, but not because I asked him to be a mentor, but because of the things that he saw that we do, that we've done, and the things that we volunteered to do on his behalf. So I think it's like when people are seeking mentors, they treat it as a one-way street. Like, I want you to be my mentor. Tell me, not saying that you've done that, but people think like just because you walk up to somebody or you see them, they're supposed to automatically, drop down and be like, okay, I'm gonna mentor you. Some of that passage, that rite of passage has to be like, okay, what about you is gonna be worth that grain of salt? You see what I'm saying? Because we had a guy a long time ago, and I'll close on this. He said, how can I get to one of y'all folks? Because I'm in his situation, I'm in his classes, I'm paying. How can I get one-on-one time? I'm like, well, everybody paying. Like, if you paying, other people paying. So what are you going to do different than other people? He got events. Go to the events when he's setting up. Stay after and help him clean up. That's your one-on-one time. Do that. And then you put yourself in a position where you're like, I'm going to take you underneath my wing because he chose to do that, not because you're trying to guilt trip him into being a mentor. So I think a lot of us look at a mentor and be like, oh, because I see them, they're supposed to be my mentor. Some people are that open, but I think you also got to show yourself to be a good mentee.
Because people ask us worth investing in. Right. Are you worth investing in? For sure.
People ask us questions all the time, and we give it. We give free information all the time. And they come back and ask the same question. And I'm like, well, we gave you the information, and you didn't do nothing with it.
I understand that assignment.
So, and the same guy, I told him what to do, and he didn't do it. And he can't. My man called me, was like, "Yo, you sent somebody over to me talking about." I told this boy to stay late or show up early, volunteer. Blah, blah, blah. That's how you gonna build a rapport with you. He's like, oh well, now that I know it's a scheme, I ain't gonna get. So the guy, he didn't listen to what I told him, but he asked me a bit of advice as a mentor to him to get to another person, and then apply it.
Yeah, so when I have clients, if they don't do we call it homework. If you don't do your homework, I ain't even gonna see you because we can't even have the conversation that I wanted to have because you didn't do what you're supposed to do before you got here. So now you can't contribute how you're supposed to. So I understand. Listen, my students get so mad at me. Get out. Get out. We'll try again next week. Get out. Yes, no, I know for sure. You know what? So I love that. But also even thinking about investing. So now I'm not balling. It's only because it's $5. But what I am going to do is, first and foremost, I didn't even know about the Welcome to the Jungle. I'm going to get it from me, but also I'm going to get 5 of them and give them to my listeners. So for my listeners who tapped into this podcast episode, the first 5 people to DM me saying they want it will get it.
Come on.
Yes. And that's just my way. Cause again, it was all for free. Cause I never once, and I want to think again, to end this out, but to thank y'all both. But even before this podcast, y'all have been depositing into me for years. And so who I've become, I know gym is me. I know I'm the one in the gym. I know I'm the one shooting the free throws. I know that. But even LeBron got somebody passing him the ball. You know what I'm saying? And so I appreciate y'all. Okay, I got bars too. Guys. But no, y'all have been passing them to me for a long time and you had no idea. So continue. I want to keep investing. Yep.
So we're trying to pay it forward. That's all we're trying to do.
Period. And now I'm doing the same thing. And so I'm hoping whoever gets it, and my listeners know, because I don't play with y'all. Don't be wasting my time and don't waste my $5. Y'all hear me talking about how I'm out here struggling. So don't ask for this book if you ain't going to apply it now. And don't go asking them for services if y'all embarrassing me, because I will find you. Okay, I hate being embarrassed. But no, for sure. No, thank y'all so much. Outside of Welcome to the Jungle, because you all don't just serve Philadelphia, and people need to know that. And so really quick, so we do have folks who are not from Philly. We have a lot of folks from the East Coast. Go ahead, shameless plug. I know you already did a little one, Jim. It's cool. It was a good one. But do y'all have any other things that you feel like people might be interested in as far as services, products, specials, anything?
Yeah, go to cgmphilly.com and you'll see we service all 50 states when it comes to formations. We do trademarks. We got a logo design team, web design team. And then it's just, some I don't want to call it consultation, but you can get the call option and, ask us questions about your business, your ideas. Those are gratis, and that's for free. So, but cgmphilly.com, you'll see Welcome to the Jungle's on there. Book an appointment with us is on there. All the goodies.
Love it. And follow them on social. Now be aware, because they're real dry, because they only got 60 seconds. But you might learn you a little. So I had to do that.
I learn you something.
You might learn you a little something. Listen, I got a whole notebook full of stuff that I learned in 60 seconds. So definitely head over to their Instagram. But thank y'all.
You didn't see that? You didn't see that Throwback Jodeci video we did? See?
Oh, see, I gotta go look.
You gotta dig in the crates. You better ask about us.
Period. No, I love it so much. I love y'all. I love y'all listeners. Love y'all. Call me back.